All right, how you all doing? I know it's been a long time since I have went live on this particular platform. Glad that you all can join me. I want to ask that you tap the screen for me if you will, please. Man, it's been like maybe 3 months, 4 months since I went live, and so I'm honored to be here. And I wish you would tap the screen if you will. Make sure that you share the live. If you know someone who may be interested in a Rottweiler puppy, very nice quality Rottweiler puppy, you want to definitely share this video with them. If you have any questions as we go along, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me anything that you would like as it relates to the breed. These are Rottweiler puppies. They will be 3 weeks old on tomorrow. So that means tomorrow they will get their, absolutely, it's going to be, I would absolutely do that for you. It's going to be 15. I would explain why it's going to be 15 in this video at some point versus what it has been being or what it would be being if we were at the point that we are at now this time last year and I was doing this same presentation, you would be at 25. Okay, and I'm going to explain the reason why that changed as we go along in this video. Okay. First of all, I want to say this is a litter by Bishop and Lollipop. Bishop is multi-V rated. If you know anybody who participates in RKNA secret shows, they would be familiar with Bishop. Bishop is multi-V rated. He has the highest genetic scores in terms of hips and elbows, JLPP clear, comes from show lines, but does have the ability to work. If you look at some of the previous videos I posted of him showing or demonstrating his working ability, his ability to be trained easily in a very short period of time, his temperament, all of that shows in some of the videos. If you would go to my profile and look at some of the videos of Bishop Von Haus Mizan, who is the son of TK Amazon, who is the only Rottweiler in the United States to win the ARC National Secrets twice. He won in 2023. He also won in 2025. Okay, so that's one of his sons. Is the sire to this litter. And then you have TK symbol, of course. And on the mother is Lollipop Von Haus. I have bred her before. Those who got the first litter off of her when she came to the United States was by Bad Boy. Those puppies have done well in the shows that they have attended. And then I did a breeding with her by TK Hitman. She's a successful litter. We had 5 males in that litter. All of them turned out to be nice with respect to conformation standards. So why this breeding? Initially, I did this breeding because we are downsizing in terms of getting rid of some of our females that are being retired. They have reached 5, 6 years old. We're retiring them, and we needed females to go forward with. So that was the initial thought or idea behind this breeding. However, prior to this breeding, we did a breeding with Hitman and Stony Von Haus Mizan, which is the daughter of TK Amazon. Got those puppies on the ground, of course. You watch the stages, the development. And over the months, she has really developed along the lines that I needed her to develop along. She's in this crate on this side. We took her out today for some training, for some socialization. Took her to the vet, did some things there with her, got her weight. She's going to be shown in the AKC show next weekend, so we're taking her out, preparing for that. And I'm very, very pleased with her development, with her confirmation in terms of the 7 traits that we look for. So I'm very pleased with her. I don't have to necessarily keep a puppy off of this litter, okay? Though if things work themselves out, like I think they will, then we may keep a puppy, okay? But Lollipop has been cleared through the FCI on her hips and elbows. She has a eco clear on her heart. And she has been in front of 8 different judges across seas, and then judges also in the United States under my care. All of the judges have either given her a V rating or a SG rating, okay? She has, I think, 2 SG ratings and 6 V ratings from different judges from around the world. So she meets the confirmation standard in terms of breeding, and she meets the health qualifications in terms of passing hips and elbows, passing the heart, passing the JLPP. She is 62 centimeters at the withers. Very nice temperament. She could go out and do work if you took in that direction, or she could show in confirmation style show. As you all know, with most of my litters, because I do some secret showing, and most of my litters, I do not dock the tail. However, in the last 2 years, I have kind of dibbled and dabbled in AKC confirmation shows, and it appears to me that in those shows, riders with the tail dock are more favorable, because traditionally that's what the AKC has done. They have accepted dogs, Rottweilers with dock tails. So these 4 puppies that I'm going to be presenting to you, each one of them have their tail docked at 2 vertebrae. They've healed really quick, really nice. These puppies are a nice size for their age. Based upon the parents' help and confirmation, based upon the pedigree in terms of the grandparents meeting qualifications in terms of their health and their confirmation. In terms of their health and confirmation, I'm going to answer your questions in a minute. In terms of their health and confirmation, they meet the standard to breed. So this is a litter that's consistent in terms of confirmation of the parents and grandparents, and in terms of the genetic health, in terms of the parents and the grandparents, okay? Lollipop is from Serbia. She's from Serbia. Bishop was born here, but both his mother and father are from a kennel in Serbia. So you're going to see Serbian bloodlines on the top and the bottom of the pedigree. Radula House on the bottom, TK on the top, okay? And once again, we have produced litters from both bloodlines as it relates to the top and the bottom before, and I have been pleased with the production using those lines, okay? All right, let me, so last week was 2 weeks. We did not deworm last week. Thank you very much. Please make sure you tap the screen and that you share for me dear brother. I appreciate that very much. So we did not deworm last week. We're going into 3 weeks tomorrow. We're going to go ahead and start the deworming process. I'll do that today. These puppies, I have not weighed. Okay, I'm not telling you to follow my advice and do things the way I do them. But I participated, or I went to school, veterinarian school for a while. I worked in the field doing an externship for well over a year. I have been dealing with dogs, administering certain medication for a few years. I've been dealing with dogs for over 13 years, consistently. So I may do some things that others may not do, but I understand the science behind what I'm doing. So I am administering to these 4 puppies a half a meal of parental suspension without weighing them. I know based upon the math, based upon the science, I can give a puppy or a dog up to 3 times the recommended dose of parental suspension without it being toxic to them. Okay? So these puppies here behind me are well over 2 pounds, which means I would be, if I give them a half a meal, I would be in the range where it's safe to give that to them. Okay? So I'm going to go over them. I have 2 males and 2 females here. This is the smallest puppy. And this is a female. Okay. Now, out of these 2 females, one of them was originally spoken for. They are 2 weeks old. They'll be 3 weeks old tomorrow. So we usually do our deworming at 2, 4, and then 6 weeks. You'll pick your puppy up at 8 weeks, and you have 72 hours to take your puppy to the vet. And then when you take them to the vet, because it's at 8 weeks, they should either be deworming that puppy, because you're back at your 2 week mark. So you deworm the puppy at that time. But I would recommend that if you are living in a state where there are mosquitoes, that you at 8 weeks go ahead and do your heartworm prevention, which also has the medicine in it to cover the intestinal worms. Okay, so that's what I would recommend. If you talk to vets, you're going to talk to vets that do things different. Some of them will wait to 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or whatever to deworm. Okay. Every veterinarian has their own practice. I use the best practices that have worked for my kennel. Okay. I use the best practices that have worked for my kennel. I advise my clients when they come get puppies from me, I advise them on what the best practices are as I see them based upon my experience. Okay. You may go to a vet and they may ask you, you got your puppy from Mizan Canine Kennel. It says here that the puppy was issued a vaccination at 6 weeks old. They may ask you what vaccination, because some vets don't even do vaccinations until 8 weeks. They might not do vaccinations until 9 weeks. We do them at 6 weeks. We do our vaccinations at 6 weeks for a very specific scientific reason. Every veterinarian doesn't have to agree with that. But we know what has worked for us over the past 13 years and what our best practices are to keep our puppies safe and healthy. And when we send a puppy home, we intend for that puppy to be safe and healthy when we send it home. Okay. Tomorrow, this is the first thing this puppy has ever got outside of its mother's milk. This has the taste of marshmallows. It's the same dewormer that you would get as a human being if you had one of these worms inside of you, intestines, and you wanted to get it out. You would just use a larger dose. This is the female. She is available. Okay. That's her. You can see her tail is docked according to AKC standards for showing. Okay. Come here, you a girl? Okay, here's the second girl. It's the second female. She's a little bigger, a little chunkier. And they can change positions now. I might come back next week and that puppy may be the same size as this puppy. And in 2 weeks it could succeed the puppy in terms of the size, okay? So just because you see one puppy is bigger than its sibling this week, that don't mean that's going to be the same case next week. Yeah, good. That's good. Nice, chunky girl. Ain't that right? Nice, chunky girl. I'm looking at the nails. Those nails are long. Next week, I'm gonna start trimming the nails. I'm not gonna do it this week, but next week I'm gonna start trimming the nails. Keeping your puppy nails trimmed is critical. It's critical to the development of the feet. Remember that the Rottweiler is a working breed, so those feet should be well arched and knuckled. And one of the ways we keep that development like that, don't let it get out of whack, is we keep those nails cut, okay? Keep those nails cut. If you cut your puppy nails while they are small, keep them drilled down, do not cut into the quick. It would be easy to cut their nails when they're older. There's so many people that, oh, the dog won't let me cut the nails. The dog won't let me cut the nails, because you wait until the dog is 6, 7, 8, 9 months before you start trimming the nails. And when you're doing that, what you're doing is you're making it difficult to get the nails where they need to be. And the puppy is not used to you touching the nails. And they get agitated. They don't want to let you do it. Good boy. That's a good boy. So at 3 weeks, I start my puppies on solid foods. Okay. So tomorrow it'll be 3 weeks. I start them on solid foods. I'm going to explain to you why I do that. Hey. Hey. Are you the boy, the other boy? Let's see. Yeah, you are. Does somebody tinkle in there? Okay. This is the other male. Like I say, he's available. The reason why I started my puppies on puppy food at 3 weeks, some years ago, I think maybe 2015 or something like that, there was a lady on Facebook who had a litter of puppies. They weren't Rottweiler puppies, but she had a litter of puppies, and the mama ran in the street and got hit. She literally took the box of puppies to a creek. They were 3 weeks old. And she started throwing the puppies one at a time in the creek. I don't know whether she got in trouble about that or not. But from her doing that, I wanted to know, could puppies survive without their mother from 3 weeks of age? Was it necessary for her to do that? I don't think it was. So, this is the other mail that's available. If you're interested, you know what you can do. You can always inbox me for a contract, okay? So I wanted to know, and then I started mixing my own formula together and started feeding puppies at 3 weeks old. It has always relieved the mother of some of the burden of having to feed, and it has really helped. Also, when it comes down to that deworming, I just gave some dewormer. Today is Saturday, so I need to also give them the same amount tomorrow, which is Sunday, and then again on Monday. And then in between me giving it to them on Monday, I'm going to wait 10 to 14 days before they get another round. So like I gave, and the reason why we do those 3 days in a row is because we want to flush out everything. If there's worms in there that's alive, we want to flush them out. We want to flush out anything they may step in. And we also want to flush out the eggs and all that. So we do 3 days, 1, 2, 3. Wait 10 to 14 days and we'll come back again, 1, 2, 3. In my opinion, puppies should be dewormed at least 3 times before they go out, okay? So you figure out how you're gonna set your schedule to deworm those puppies 3 times before they go out. Do not wait until those puppies get 4 or 5 weeks before you deworm them, because if you do that, you're gonna be behind the 8 ball. Now you're fighting worms. They can be losing weight. They can have blood in their stool. You could be fighting an infestation versus really doing the prevention work that needs to be done to make sure that the puppy is healthy, okay? So you want to do that deworming really at 2 weeks, okay? If you live in my city, you're close to me, I always have dewormer. You all know you can always call me. You can always come to me and get the dewormer. This does not take care of tapeworms. So you're monitoring. We're in the summer, the summer months. I'm in Arkansas. Fleas are bad. If you see fleas, you may start out with this the first or second round. But if you see fleas anywhere on the mama or the puppies at any time during the whelping process, before you send those puppies out, you want to use Panacure, because Panacure will push out tapeworms. And tapeworms actually come from fleas, okay? So if the mama eats a flea, if the puppy eats a flea, they can have tapeworms. And that's that little flat worm, that white worm that looks like a tape that'll roll up on you. If you see any fleas, you definitely want to run that Panacure before you send the puppy out, okay? Any questions? I really appreciate you all. You all are up to 74. I'm up to about 459 likes. Can you all get me to 1,000 by just tapping the screen? I'm going to do what I can to come on once a week, share with you all some of the things I have learned about the Rottweiler breed, the Cane Corso breed, and then some of the medical things that I've learned in school, as well as my externship, and then now consulting with different veterinarians that I depend on to get the things that I need to take care of my dogs. I'm going to share with you all what I have learned. I'm going to share with you all some of the things I've challenged in the veterinarian field. I talked on Facebook, I think it was earlier today, about how I had to challenge my mentor, who had decades of experience over me in terms of dealing with dogs and cats, in terms of her educational background. But I had to do some challenging in terms of how they dealt with heartworms, okay? Some things that I saw while I was in the field that I questioned and I challenged them on, and kind of made them tweak the way they deal with the treatment of heartworms. So I'll talk about that. I try to come on Saturday. Y'all got me to 912, so if you could get me to 1,000, I would appreciate it. So I'll talk about some of that. I'll talk about something that I think we should have been talking about in Arkansas at least 2 years ago, which is the third strain of parvovirus. People don't talk about it. They haven't talked about it much. Even veterinarians have not talked about it, but there is, or there has been, a third strain of parvovirus. Okay, that strain does not manifest itself like the previous two strains do. We've dealt with dogs and we've treated dogs that have actually been constipated and also testing positive for parvovirus while being constipated. Okay. There's also the idea that if you're using those old parvo testing kits, that you can get a false negative from using those kits. So I always tell people, they say, hey man, I went to the doctor, I took my dog to the vet, and there was blood in the stool, and they checked it for parvo, and they said they didn't have parvo. I always ask them what test did they use, okay? Because if they're using the old cheap test, the dog may have parvo, and old cheap test does not detect the third strain of parvo, okay? I was very, very dissatisfied with the annual conference they did in Hot Springs a few years ago, because they went heavy on talking about the different herbs that they were using to treat certain ailments in dogs, but they did not bring up or deal with or talk about that third strain of parvovirus, which was crazy to me. There are certain things that you can use to treat the parvovirus outside of ampicillin. Okay, people don't talk about it because it's controversial. But I went over to Memphis, Tennessee, and was doing a breeding over there. And one of the persons that came, they wanted to do artificial insemination on Valhalla because the female was so aggressive toward him. And this guy called over a guy named Ben. Ben was a guy that drove a little Honda, and he traveled throughout Memphis. He was not a licensed veterinarian, but he traveled throughout Memphis helping people with medical issues with their dog. And he made a lot of money doing it, very successful. So he came over to do the AI, and we talked about parvovirus, and we talked about some of the different treatment methods that are used successful, unconventional treatment methods for parvovirus. And he mentioned something to me and explained to me how he was able to treat some dogs with this herb. And I tested it. And it worked. Even with certain, with dogs that were developing resistance to ampicillin. I mean, you gave him these rounds of ampicillin. The people took them home. They used it. They came back. They got another dose. And in some cases, they came and got a third dose. And the ampicillin did not have the effect that we would hope it would have. Those dogs were still going down, and some of them eventually died. Where I was advising people that I was close to use this treatment, because I was successful at doing it myself in my own kennel with some clients that took dogs away and came back sick, and I was like, hey man, let me have the dog for the next 2 weeks. And I was able to turn it around. So I think that the vets do a good job, but we know that major corporations are buying up vet businesses. They're buying up the dog food companies. There's a great takeover that's taking place in the United States as it relates to the dog industry. And they don't always tell you about some of this scientific breakthrough that is taking place to years and years down the road. So just be mindful that if we have some critical thinking, we can get around the old thoughts of somebody who maybe went to medical school 20 or 30 years ago, and they're behind 20 or 30 years in terms of their practice. They have not upgraded their practice. They go to the conferences every year to maintain their licenses, but they do not take a deep dive into some of the medical practices, medical breakthroughs that are taking place in this country and around the world, because they got their license 20, 30, 40 years ago and they think that's sufficient. We want to keep our dogs healthy and happy. We got to be willing to step outside of the box, and as these new innovative approaches roll out to treating dogs, even the hemp, the THC, all of this stuff, we have to be open-minded to look at new innovative ways of keeping our dogs healthy and happy, okay? You have any questions before I get out of here? I really appreciate you all. You all got me up to 1.5. I'm going to give you all my phone number if you want to reach out to me. If you're interested in that, I do 2 breeds. I do the Rottweiler breed, and I also do the Cane Corso breed. I do not answer questions as it relates to other people's bloodline and other breeders, kennel, and dogs that they get. If you go out and you buy a Rottweiler from a kennel and you having issues, the best person to talk to is your veterinarian or the breeder that you got the puppy from. Okay? Same thing with the Cane Corso. If you go out and you go buy something from somebody and they have not did the right thing, they're cutting corners to make money, you need to be able to go back and talk to those people about that specific dog and their bloodline, or you need to go to the vet. I will answer some general questions as it relates to the general care of puppies or dogs in general, okay? And if I don't have the answer, I will write your question down and I will talk to my veterinarian mentors to try to get you an answer the best way I can, okay? That number, once again, 870-209-4766. I'm going to pin it in the, I haven't used this thing in so long. I'm going to pin it in the comments if I can. Somebody please put it in the comments for me. 870, I'm located in Arkansas, so I'm at 870-209-4766. Okay? Once again, that number is 870-209-4766. If you are in the state of Arkansas or you're in a state that's close by, I want to encourage you to make your way to Little Rock, Arkansas. There is an AKC confirmation show taking place in Little Rock starting Friday. It's going to run Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I will be at the show showing Keita, my 9-month-old Rottweiler, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then we're going to show Ghana, who is my Cane Corso, the male Cane Corso I have. We're going to show him on Sunday only. Kylie, who is a Cane Corso from my kennel, he's going to be being shown on both Saturday and Sunday. Okay, so we have 3 dogs from my kennel that's going to be participating in the AKC All Breed Confirmation Show Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Little Rock at the State Fairgrounds. It is free admission. You want to come and be a spectator. You want to come and look at dogs. You want to come and network with people. You want to come and take the opportunity to talk to some of the judges. There's usually 6, 7, 8 judges there. There's a superintendent there. These people are well versed with different breeds. It's going to be somebody there for the working breed, the toy breed, the hound breed, etc., etc. And so if you have questions about confirmation of certain breeds, you should come Catch those judges when they are on their break. They're going to have some breaks. You usually start about 8 or 9 o'clock and run up to 4:30. So they're going to have some breaks in between. You can catch those judges, pull them over to the side, and ask them questions and get answers to the questions that you have. Hey, I got to go get out of here. I appreciate you all. I'll try to come back and talk to you between 3 and 4 o'clock next Saturday right here from Mizan K9 Kennel, located in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Thank you all for your time and attention.